Hello everyone. Now you might have heard quite a lot about the FACEIT League starting this week. And if you're like a lot of people, you might have heard a lot about it starting, but not too much of the detail on what's actually happening, what stage of the tournament we're at, what happens next, when are the important games, and how the hell do I watch all of this? So, I thought I'd make the video today to talk us through some of that. Where we are right now, starting on the 29th, we enter the regular season. And what the regular season is a big round robin. Now, there's all the different tiers that you may have seen advertised when FACEIT first launched. The Master, the Expert, the Open. But I'm going to be mainly focusing on the Master in this video, as that's where all the top teams are competing. And Master Division is 16 teams, and this is the EMEA region. And you probably can look at this and go, I recognise some of these teams. I know Space Station, ENCE, Twisted Minds. A lot of the big contenders as well, that we saw in OWCS Stage 2 start to do a little bit better. And a few new faces, maybe like R8, Meave Drawn, the Tough Shells. A few different looks here for some teams. Now, what these teams are going to do is they're going to enter into a big 7-week round robin, which means they're going to play loads and loads of games. They're going to play each other. And then at the end of it, the top X amount of teams are going to go to the playoffs. And they've not announced how many teams are in the playoffs yet. It's all to be confirmed, as you can see. And these will be just after the Dallas Major, the 10th to the 30th of June. So again, quite a long period of time, which obviously means it's going to take a lot longer to find the ultimate winners of this competition. But it does mean we get regular Overwatch pretty much from now until the end of June, and this will set us up quite nicely to continue that action with the Esports World Cup itself, and then obviously OWCS Stage 3, 4, and the Major at the very end of the year. So, the important places, they haven't announced how many teams go through to playoffs, but if we use a little bit of deduction, and we're quite good at deduction, so we can see that if we look at the prize pool, well, there's a first, second, third, fourth, we'd expect, and there's 5/6 and a 7/8, and then after that it just goes in individual increments. So the implication from this is actually it'll be top 8 teams will go through to some form of double elimination bracket, which is a really classic format. The reason this tournament is so important and why so many teams and all you see all the big boys entering this one is because of this. The free World Cup spots up for grabs. And these are incredibly valuable. So valuable, in fact, that if you get the third one and finish in third place, you don't actually get any prize money. You just get the spot, but the spot will be worth more than this fourth place. So, a lot of teams really want these spots. Obviously, qualification through the Dallas Major is very iffy. You have to do very well against literally the best teams in the world. So this is a more surefire way for a lot of the top EMEA teams and the top North American teams. Now, while we're looking at the EMEA bracket here, it's exactly the same in North America. We'll take a little look at that one in a bit. But in terms of concept, that's what's up for grabs. This is why it's important. And we can take a look at this spreadsheet I made because did you really think we'd go an entire video without me getting to show you a spreadsheet? I made this spreadsheet, and this is for schedule. So this is maybe a bit of an easier way to see the breakdown of how the game's going. So as you can see, we've got week 1, which is actually, at time of recording, it's right now. So some of these games have already happened. And then we'll get week 2, and it'll be 2 rounds in that one. Week 3, we actually do 3 rounds. It's a big week. And then week 4, 5, 6, 7, you get the idea. So what I've gone through here is I put all the teams in. I've maybe highlighted some of the important games. I'll maybe drop a link to look at this in the description. All this information is available on Liquipedia as well. If you go to view the individual groups page, you can see the full breakdown of every single team. I just did it this way just so it was easier for me to keep track of the important games. So, that's the schedule. We can take a look at North America as well. Obviously, we can see, again, a lot of familiar fames, a lot of famous familiar names, that's what I'm trying to say, including the brand new TSM, M80, Luminosity, Toronto going to be in it as well. All the teams, all competing for those top 3 spots. So initially in this round robin, it's all about getting top 8, so you get that shot at the top 3, then once you get to that double elimination bracket, it's all about that top 3. So, the next logical question is, okay, so we get it. There's lots of good games. There's loads of games. There's so many games I'm looking at on my screen here, and you're telling me this is going to happen every week? There's going to be multiple rounds every week? Yes, which means loads of action. So the next logical question is, great, I like Overwatch. I like watching Overwatch action. But where can I watch all this Overwatch action? And this is where it maybe gets a little bit rubbish, I guess, for the, that's kind of the only way to put it, a little bit rubbish for these opening rounds. Is there is no official stream. So you're going to have to rely on co-streaming. So me, myself, I'll put it somewhere there. If you go to my Twitch, I'll be doing a lot of these games live, the ones that I can. I'm able to get into the lobby, so we can watch it very similar to if anyone's caught any of my streams where I do Scrimco streams, it'll be very similar to that. Or any of the OWCS ones, again, very similar to that. I'll be watching a lot of overhead, I'll be casting the games, and give it a little bit of production value. So I'm going to try and do a lot of the important games for ones highlighted green you can see on this page for EMEA and this page for North America. Now, some of these North American games are obviously quite late for me, so what I might do is cast them from the replays and upload them to my YouTube. Again, I'll put the YouTube. Well, actually, you're on the YouTube, right? So I don't need to link it, but it'll be here. It'll be right here on this channel. So stay tuned for all of that action. Other than that, outside of my stream, if you go and follow any of your favorite streamers who are on these teams, people like Funny Astro, Rack Attack, you'll be able to follow the action from the players' POVs and from the team's POVs. What I'll try and do as well, because I think there's a lot to follow, it can be hard to keep track of, I'll start producing a weekly series that maybe just summarizes a lot of the events. Because obviously if I look at this and I look at round 1 of North America, well, there's a lot of games to keep track of. What are the important ones? Are there any upsets, big results, anything like this? As we get later and later into sort of week 6 and 7, we're going to start talking about what results do teams need to qualify? What's the win condition to actually get into the top 8 or get to those good spots? So I'll start trying to produce a weekly series that can summarize and update you on all of those, because I know this is a lot and it can be hard to keep track of. But ultimately, it's good high-level Overwatch regularly. We get to see a lot of the new teams. We get to see some of the new patch. We get to see a lot of our favourite players. So I think it's 100% worth tuning in for, making the effort to. I'll try and make it as easy as possible on this channel to do those things. But that's kind of everything. That's the sort of headlines of what's available, what to keep an eye on. Obviously, if you want to do it through the FACEIT page itself, you can go over to the FACEIT League Season 1. You can change your region from EMEA to North America. You want to focus on the Master Division. And you can look at all the results. You can see the picks, the bans, everything like this. All seems really, really reasonable. You can see the standings for where everyone is and anything like that. So you can use this as well. I think Liquipedia is a little bit easier because it has the sort of week-by-week breakdown, or even I'll link a copy of this sheet I have as well. So again, there's a sort of week-by-week breakdown of the schedule, which I think is a little bit easier to interpret than the FACEIT website. But all the information is there on the FACEIT website. The other important thing to say is, what day in these games on? Are they weekend games like OWCS? Not necessarily. The default dates are Tuesday and Thursday, which means every Tuesday and Thursday you play one of your round games. So in week 1, for example, you play your round 1 game on Tuesday, your round 2 game on Thursday. But you're allowed to reschedule these games. So a lot of teams will try and do both their games on the same day, and others will just take the default days, or some will maybe move a day to accommodate a player schedule or whatever it might be like that. So you will see these not necessarily happen on set days every week, so there'll be a lot of figuring stuff out and figuring out the broadcast schedule as we go. But again, I'll try and summarize that and try and keep you as up to date as I can on this channel. The other important thing to note, which I maybe forgot to mention earlier, was that these are actually only best of 3s. So just free maps. First to 2, however you want to say it. But obviously this means there's going to be a little bit more variety in results, because you just need to win 2 maps to get a result. It means we're going to be watching Control, Hybrid, and Escort only for a lot of it, which honestly are probably the more interesting map types aside from Flashpoint and Push. So I think it's reasonable, given the best of 3 formats, to focus on those ones. But it does mean we'll have shorter series, which again will probably actually help over the long run with so many games happening. It'll actually make it easier to try and keep track of all of this when they're slightly shorter series. So hopefully it makes sense. Hopefully I've not missed anything out. If you have any questions or anything like that, feel free to leave it in the comments or join my Discord and ask there. There's a lot of people who can maybe help and point you in the right direction. But other than that, stay tuned to this channel. I'll try and keep you up to date on all this information and bring you as much live coverage of all these games as I can. Thank you very much for watching today. I hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll see you very soon for some FACEIT League action.